I recently learned some very important, profound lesson from a webinar with Gary Nosner, a famous FBI hostage negotiator. This concept is talking about the approach to negotiation, how negotiation should focus on the results. And it's described in one phrase: be a farmer, not a hunter. Hunters, hunters, they go for a kill. They track the prey and hunt it down and kill it. Farmers do differently. They actually plant the seed and they grow it to harvest it later. It's a different mindset. It's a different perspective of how survival should be approached. So farmers have a longer time perspective. And I'll give you an example. I recently needed to clean the house, and there were a couple who wanted to get some business. They started a cleaning business, and I wanted to give them a chance. There's a husband and wife, and let's call them for privacy. Let's call them Brandon and Tammy, and they wanted some business, and they wanted to offer me to clean the house. And I asked them how much will it be to clean my house, and they give me a sweet deal. They said that they will clean all my windows and two bathrooms and most of the appliances. And I was pleased with what they are offering. And I thought, okay, well, they probably need business and they want to help me. Okay, I will go with them. And I asked them to create an invoice and list what they want to do and um, give me the price. And so they did. And they arrived at my house and they started cleaning. And what they didn't realize that this work will take them much longer to do this, to complete it, and much longer than expected. And after 3 hours of work, Brandon, this man, came to me and said, "We couldn't complete the job because we have another gig somewhere else, and we just need to leave. And we give you $20 back, and we'll not clean the windows from the outside." And for me, there is more than 20 windows in the house, or maybe over 25 windows in the house. I agreed to clean both in the first floor and the basement. And for me, it was not really a good deal to get 20 bucks back for not cleaning all the windows. And I said, like, no, it doesn't really cut for me. I I I don't need 20 bucks. I would rather have the windows cleaned. And then Brandon said, "Well, how much do you want?" And I say, "Well, at least $70." So I didn't really even want to give up $70. I would rather have the windows cleaned. But I was thinking, like, maybe I will hire somebody else and they would clean it and at least partially compensate for that. But the problem was that Brandon really didn't like it, and he was disappointed with my answer. And he said, 70, we spent so much time with the bathrooms and we cleaned the appliances and it took much longer time. And that is, it's just not fair. And we went above and beyond. And now I need to go because I have another job and I need to wake up 4 a.m. in the morning. So, and he's getting kind of agitated. He's raising his voice, and he is kind of moving away from me, and he's talking. He's using certain language that he's saying above and beyond, and generalizations. And I said, like, okay, well, if $70 doesn't work for you, then maybe you can complete the work later. And he said, no, we can't do that. and talking assertively. And he said, I have another job tomorrow and it's not possible. And I made a mistake here. And I said, maybe Tammy can do this, because I was thinking like maybe there is a solution here. Maybe he's not seeing something. And this is very typical when we start helping the other side to make a decision where we really don't have a stake in their decision. They need to make a decision, and we start giving them options. And what happened is he said like, no, she doesn't drive. It's not possible. And then I realized like, well, it's really not my decision. They need to make a decision. I say, well, what should we do? And Brandon said, well, we give you $20 back and we'll leave. And I said like, no, it doesn't work for me. I prefer all the windows cleaned. And now Brandon see that I giving him no second time because it doesn't work for me, and don't agree to this offer that he has for me, $20 back. And he raised his voice even louder, and he started to talk to me about all the problems that he has. And he said, we can't do this. We spend so much cleaning, so much time cleaning bathroom. You don't understand it. We want above and beyond, and we have another job tomorrow. And he said, I can't go between you and my wife all the time. I need to negotiate with. Yeah, I need to talk to her, and I need to talk to you. Um, I can't do this. And he said, you're asking me $70. Okay, we'll do it for free. So he got upset to the point when he actually started to kind of giving up his value, and he started to say that he is doing this for free. And he started to push me with his emotion, give me a guilt trip that I need to be responsible for what they agree to. And I'm thinking to myself, well, this conversation isn't going well. It's not going the right way. And Brandon wants to renegotiate this contract that he gotten into, but the way he approaches this negotiation is actually by forcing me with his emotions, making me responsible for his decision. And I'm a customer in this case. So essentially, he's pretty much ruining my customer experience and ruining the reputation of his business. And I thought, like, okay, we kind of need to make a pivot here and bring something else up here. And I started to talk about how we actually talk. I kind of touched on this, and maybe it was too late because I didn't realize that it's going this direction, that it's going to be escalating, but it escalated pretty quickly. So, and I slowed down and I tried to smile a little bit, say, Brandon, I understand we are not on the same page, and it's a difficult situation. I really don't want to give you direction or tell you what to do and making decision for you. In fact, I really would like you to get a good review. I want to give you a good review for the work that you've done. Why would we leave any negative impression on this situation and the business, on our business together? And at this point, when I said that, his wife called him inside the house. She was inside the house, and apparently she heard all this conversation that we had just right outside the house. And she called him, and he didn't reply to me, and he went back to her, and they talk probably. They She probably said to him something. She never raised her voice. It was very quiet, and I gotten back to what I did, and I was working in the backyard. And essentially, what happened next? They just continued working, and I see that they started to make some phone calls. Probably they canceled the next appointment that they had, and they continued working, and they actually completed all the work. Though I helped them a little bit, I started to remove the screens from the window. I started to clean some of the windows, started to clean between the windows. So essentially, I wanted them to do all this work, but I thought like, okay, guys are in a tight spot. Maybe I can help them a little bit. So I started to help them do this. And Tammy also asked me a couple of times to to show the complete work. She showed me the kitchen and said, "Are you okay? Is it fine?" And I see like, well, the work was done okay. I accepted that, and finally, all the by the sunset, finally all the work was done, and I thank them and I say, "You guys did a hell of a work. I respect you for that. You hold your ground. You completed everything, and I want to pay you in full." And I see that Brandon smiled a little bit, but Tammy, she kept her cool. I didn't see any smile on her face. Probably she was upset more than Brandon, but she didn't want to talk about this. And this is very interesting that this couple, and they were not happy about the situation, and of course the man, the male, more assertive person, he come to me and he spoke to me violently, versus his wife. She did not want to even mention it to me. He didn't want to push back to me, any pushback to me, and she didn't even articulate it. She didn't ask anything of me. She didn't ask more money. She didn't ask more time. She didn't ask to reschedule. She didn't exhibit any desire to negotiate with me. So it was a complete silence. So maybe she suffered more than her husband, but she didn't want to open her mouth and tell me what she's thinking, just respectfully. So this is very interesting that you can see how the same situation, how two different people approach it differently, but there is no middle ground. Whether it's a violent outburst with some anger and some raised voice and some, a certain language. He didn't swear. He was very respectful in that matter, but you can see the emotions were like projecting in a certain obvious way, versus the other person, the woman. She was not really even starting with any request, any negotiation, and any attempt to start a conversation about this. So that was very interesting. So essentially, there I paid them on full, and they completed the work. Everything is done according to our initial contract. Well, what are the lessons from here? So could they renegotiate the agreement? Yes, I was ready actually that they would come back to me and start renegotiating that. Should they yell at me? No, I don't appreciate that they started yell. Our Brandon started to yell at me and pushed me, and essentially that turned me off. That it was like my way or highway. You get this $20 or else. And of course, I had from this perspective, I held my ground and held a strong stance there and didn't agree to what he demanded. So how yelling at impacted the negotiation? It actually destroyed my discretionary goodwill to accommodate them. So essentially, I got an excuse to not accommodating them because I was yelled at. So this is how easy, how quickly that happens. So should they ask me for more money? Yes, they could. They actually could come to me and say, Vlad, we made a mistake. We miscalculated that. This is totally not at $170. This is at least $500, but okay, well, we kind of need to, meet somewhere in the middle. What do you think? What is possible here? So if they could talk to me like this, I would scratch my head and say like, okay, well, I give you another 100, something like that, and they will say, okay, great, well, yeah, we'll do, we'll complete all the work, and thank you so much. Thank you for your business. That would be a completely different conversation. It would be easy. They didn't exercise that. They didn't want to find the new options. They only focused on this $20 and leaving. That's what they did, and I don't really blame them for that. Perhaps they discussed something else. Perhaps they just they were just so emotional they couldn't actually come up with some other solution. But at the same time, it happens so often that people do not really get creative and they don't ask for help instead of that, they start to offer solution or push for their solution, and that is the dead end. So there's the conversation, the negotiation doesn't go anywhere. And maybe a simple question like what is possible could be beneficial in this conversation, could be beneficial for both parties, and we would be agree at different ground. Okay, so how did their initial agreement look to me? So essentially, when they gave me a sweet deal, I did feel like it's a little bit lower than the professional cleaners would take. I think that I cleaned my windows for the same amount a couple of years ago for 250, but that was only windows. Well, that was a team of professional cleaners, but it was only windows without any kitchen, without any appliances, without bathrooms. It was only windows, and the guys were working like for a couple hours just on windows, but they actually did an excellent job. They cleaned windows from all sides and inside and out, and they took it out and they cleaned the net, the screens as well. So they did an excellent job. But that was, just a part of what they did. And at the same time, if they give me the sweet deal, I make a conclusion. They want my business. That's why they give me a sweet deal. Otherwise, they would give me a real deal. And if they give me a real deal, that means I might be stretched a little bit. I might be thinking about, do I want it or not? But they wanted to make a deal. And because of that, they kind of undercut their own profits there. They decided to undercut their own profits. And that's why they give me this deal. Was it fair to renegotiate later? Well, it depends on their approach. As I said, if they would admit their mistake, that they actually negotiated badly with me in the first place, and ask me if I would be willing to, move a step forward and renegotiate, I would do that. So, but they didn't choose this way. They chose whether push me with a single option or just being silent and not talking about this. And should they be silent completely from the beginning? I probably would give them a good tip on top. But because they yelled at me, I started to think about, wow, they yelled at me. Now, if I give them tip, what I would teach them with that? Will they actually go and yell at the next customer? Does it make sense for me to actually tip them for, this unfortunate incident? Should they come to me and say, Vlad, we apologize. We shouldn't have done that. We shouldn't have yelled at you. You're actually doing everything right. We agreed about this. Our fault. Sorry. I would tip them just for that. They didn't do that. Okay. So sometimes apology will earn you money. So remember, apology is a powerful tool to restore respect. And even if you feel like it's unfair, but if you feel that we are still within the agreement and we didn't renegotiate, but we're still within the agreement, sometimes apology is due just because we wanted to restore respect. Okay. So, why did they stop arguing with me? That's a very good question. I have no idea, but I'm thinking maybe they took into perspective of what is happening next, why they're doing this business. Perhaps they started to understand that, maybe because I said that about the experience, about our business, and I kind of brought the hinted that I'm their customer. Maybe they took into perspective the reputation of their business. And the reputation is a long-term perspective. So imagine you're starting your business, and the first few customers, you totally ruin relationships with them. So what's going to happen? Your business getting a hit, and you're not going to get 5 stars from your customers. How are you going to grow it? It will be really challenging. So, and especially if your customers start to give you like 1 star, it will be super, super hard after this. So reputation is a huge deal, especially for people who are just starting, who just wanted some initial clients. And by the way, should they actually give me a sweet deal, completed everything, don't really ruin the relationship with me, and say thank you, I would call them over and over. I would recommend them to many different people. Perhaps not many, but I would recommend them to the people I know. And I would say, well, those are wonderful people. They're doing excellent work. They don't take much. I recommend them. So I would do that and they would get more business. But when you break a relationship with your customer, it's just you're just losing this discretionary goodwill. People just won't do what they would do. So that's another thing. Okay, so perhaps my words woke them up for that, or maybe not. Maybe they just gotten together, and his wife Tammy probably said like, "Okay, we can't win this. Like, just let's just finish it." I don't know what happened between them, but they actually completed their work. So, biggest lesson to me is be a farmer, not a hunter. Don't try to squeeze everything from each deal, and don't try to push by all means, push people with emotions, manipulate them, and ruin the relationships. It doesn't worth it. Sometimes you need to take a hit. Did I actually do work on discounted price? Yes, I did. Did I do a free work? Yes, I did the free work. Did I miscalculated the fees that on which I did the work? Of course I did. Did I actually ruin the relationship? No, I didn't. What I try to do is to actually quote quote send the customer home on a limo. I believe this is a concept from Oprah that you need to send your your guest back home in the limo because many many hosts of the on the interview they invited people on the limo and they come to on a limo, but how they get home nobody knows. But she's sending a guest home on a limo, so this is very important that you actually keep the relationship, send their customers home on a limo, and when you do this, your business is not transactional. It's not like selling a car and then forgetting and like, okay, I sell a car and we will never see you again. Though even in this business, relationships is very important. Even in this business, relationships actually create repeated business. But in the area of service like cleaning or the tree care, lawn care, it's just paramount. It's just paramount how often people refer you, and this is how you do more business. In coaching is the same. So I realize that for me it's very important to have to win the loyalty of my customer, to build those relationships, keep those relations. By all means, I would like to continue that. Okay, so the bottom line here is if you have good relationship with the customer, if you focus on relationship, you focus on building trust, you will have repeated business. Once the trust is broken, your business becomes transactional. It's just a single transaction that doesn't repeat. So you actually, if you want to have a repeated business, if you want referrals, your relationship with the customer is paramount, is everything. And I created a video lesson on how to build a rapport and how to build the trust. And it's a free 4-minute video about applying reflective listening and how to build trust with the reflective listening. And you can actually click on the link and watch that lesson and learn how it's been done, learn how reflective listening actually helps to build relationship and build successful business with your customers. Thank you for watching.